Good morning, students. I'm Sangeeta, lecturer in chemistry, branch general section, Institute GPT in RNCAD, semester 2, subject engineering chemistry and environmental studies, subject code 18C204F, major topic principles of metallurgy, duration 30 minutes, subtopic alloys. That we'll study composition and uses of alloys. So what is an alloy? So what is the composition and uses of alloys, and teaching its PPT, animations, diagrams wherever required. Let us recollect what we have discussed in the last class. So in last class, what we have discussed? We discussed that is extraction of crude metal that can be done in 3 steps, that is roasting, calcination and smelting. So once again, we will revise this: what is roasting, what is calcination, what is smelting. So first, we'll see roasting. So during the extraction of crude metal, so what is first step? Roasting. So after removing the impurities present in the ore, what we will do? We will extract the metal. So how we will extract the metal? So first one, roasting. So we will heat the ore alone, either alone or mixed with some other substance in the presence of air below its melting point is called roasting. And this roasting is employed in case of sulfide ores or the ores containing metal sulfide impurities. And these sulfide ores are converted into oxide ores or sulfide ores during this roasting. And this roasting involves chemical changes like oxidation, chlorination, etc. And this process is carried out in reverberatory furnace. Then this roasting is again divided into 3 types based on the nature of the product formed. So first one is oxidizing roasting, second one is sulfating roasting, and third one is chloridizing roasting. So A, oxidizing roasting. So this is common type of roasting, and this is used to remove sulfur and arsenic in the form of their volatile oxides. So during this process, sulfide ores are converted into oxides, and this is applied for the ores like iron, lead, zinc, nickel, copper, etc. So these are the some of the sulfide ores converting into oxide ores. Copper sulfide converted into copper oxide, and sulfur dioxide will be removed off in the form of volatile form. So lead sulfide converted into lead oxide. The sulfur dioxide will be removed off. Then ZNS, ZNO, SO2, FeS2, Fe2O3, SO2. Like this, will convert the sulfide ores into oxide ores. The next one is sulfating or partial oxidizing roasting. So this type of roasting is carried out under controlled conditions. So some of the sulfide ore is converted into sulfate ore, and the rest is converted into oxide ore. So here, roasting of galena leads to formation of lead oxide and lead sulfide. Here what happens? Lead sulfide is, some of the lead sulfide is converting into lead oxide, and remaining will be converted into lead sulfide. Similarly, zinc blend on roasting use zinc sulfate and zinc oxide. So here zinc sulfide, some of the zinc sulfide is converted into zinc sulfate, and the remaining is converting into zinc oxide. So the next one is chloridizing roasting, and this type of roasting is used in case of silver ore. It is argentite, Ag2S. So we are heating argentite with NaCl at 600 degrees centigrade, and it gives AgCl and Na2SO4. So during definition also only we told that what I told, heating the ore either alone or by adding some other substance. So what we are doing here, we are adding some substance, okay, that is NaCl, and we are heating the ore in the presence of oxygen, so that it is converting into silver chloride and sodium sulfate. So this is about roasting. Then come to calcination. the process of heating the ore below its fusion temperature in the absence or limited supply of air in order to remove volatile matter is called calcination. And this method is used to convert an ore into suitable form for the reduction of ore into corresponding metal. And this calcination is used for the metallic carbonates, bicarbonates, and hydrated metallic oxides. And this calcination does not involve any chemical change. And it is also carried out in reverberatory furnace. So here we'll see some carbonates, calcium carbonate, zinc carbonate, magnesium carbonate, all are converting into oxide ores and carbon dioxide is removed. So here this is about calcination. Then after calcination, next smelting. So what is meant by smelting? Separation of a metal or its sulfide mixture from its ore in molten state in the presence of flux is called smelting. That means we are reducing the metal. So here in this process. So in this process, ore is melted with a flux and often with a reducing agent. This process is carried out in blast furnace. Roasting and calcination are done in reverberatory furnace, whereas this smelting is done in blast furnace. So here we say we can separate the metal or we can this mixture of sulfide ores are be separated. This is copper pyrites. This can be separated from this mixture. So copper sulfide, iron sulfide. And here iron oxide. We are reducing iron oxide to iron by using a carbon as a reducing agent. So this is about smelting. So in the last class we discussed these three topics: roasting, calcination, and smelting. So today's our topic is alloys. So what are the objectives? On completion of this period, you would be able to understand definition of alloy, purpose of making alloys, and composition and uses of alloys. So you should understand these three topics. What is an alloy, or what is the purpose of making alloys, and composition and uses of some alloys. Okay, so first we will see what is an alloy. So it is a homogeneous mixture of a metal with other metal or non-metal or metallide with metallic properties is called alloy. So simply we will say what is an alloy means it is a mixture of metals or mixture of elements. So one of the element must be a metal. The other may be metal, non-metal or metallide. So two metals can combine, metal, non-metal can combine, and metal, non-metallide can combine. Okay. So homogeneous mixture. So it should be a homogeneous mixture. What is an alloy? Homogeneous mixture of a metal with other metal or non-metal or metallide with metallic properties. It should be with metallic properties. That is called an alloy. Solids. Next. Alloys are solid solutions and homogeneous in molten state, and homogeneous or heterogeneous in solid state. So generally alloys are solid solutions. Okay, and these are homogeneous in molten state, whereas homogeneous are heterogeneous in solid state. So example for an alloy: steel is an alloy of iron, carbon and manganese. Brass is an alloy of copper and zinc. So steel is an alloy of iron, carbon and manganese means in steel these are the metals: iron, carbon and manganese. Whereas in brass it is the combination mixture of copper and zinc. The mixture of copper and zinc is nothing but brass. So what is an alloy? It is a homogeneous mixture of a metal with other metal or non-metal or metallide with metallic properties is called alloy. Whereas alloys are solid solutions and these are homogeneous in molten state, whereas homogeneous are heterogeneous in solid state. The next, purpose of making alloys or objectives of alloying. So why we are making alloys? What is the reason? What is the purpose? Okay, so we'll see. Alloying enhance the hardness or strength of the metal. That means by adding one metal to other metal or metal to another metallide, so what is happening? The hardness and the strength of the metal will be increasing. So generally metals are hard in nature and strength also very hard in nature. Okay, strength also more. But by mixing with some other metal or metalloid, so what is happening means its hardness and strength also in hardness or strength also increasing. Hardness means strength means same. So its hardness increases. And alloys are more resistant to corrosion than pure metals. Generally, what happens? Metals will undergo corrosion. Okay. So if you make a alloy, they will resist the corrosion. So alloys are more resistant to corrosion than pure metals. And alloys lowering the melting point of the metal. Generally metals have high melting point. So if you prepare alloys, its melting point will decrease. Alloying increases the tensile strength. Generally metals have high tensile strength. By making alloys, what happens? Its tensile strength still increases. Alloying modify the color of the metals, and by making alloys colors will changes. Okay, modifies the color of the metals. Alloying provides a better castability. So better castability means it increases its metallic character and we can made into any different shapes. Okay, we can made into statues like that by alloying. Then to modify properties like malleability, ductility of metals. So by preparing alloys, so we can modify some of the properties of the metals like malleability and ductility. So what is malleability? What is ductility? In the first class itself, we studied characteristics of metals. What is malleability? The property of the metals due to which metal can be made into thin sheets is called malleability. And the property of the metals due to which metal can be made into thin wires is called ductility. So by making alloys, we can increase the malleable character and ductile character. So these are the purpose of making alloys. The first one, alloys increases the hardness of the metal and they are more resistant to corrosion and it lowers the melting point of the metal. Alloying increases the tensile strength and these alloys modify the color of the metals. Alloying provides a better castability and it also modifies the properties like malleability and ductility of metals. So these are the purpose of making alloys. Now we will see the composition and uses of alloys. So in your syllabus, so 5 or 6 alloys are there. Its composition and uses are there. So we'll see one by one. The first alloy is brass. So brass is an alloy of copper and zinc. That is a mixture of copper and zinc metals is called as brass. So what is the percentage of copper? Copper is 60 to 80% and zinc is 20 to 40%. So its uses. Okay. It is used in machinery parts and cryogenic systems. So cryogenic systems means very low temperature. Okay, it is used in plumbing, cooking utensils, making nuts, bolts, wires, coins, and castings. Castings means making statues. Okay, used in plumbing. Okay, cooking utensils, making nuts, bolts, wires, coins, and castings. As it prevents tarnishing for a long time, it is used in door hardware. So as it prevents tarnishing means it prevents from discoloration for long time. So that's why it is used in door hardware. And it is used in fan blades, fan cages and motor bearings. And this copper in brass makes brass germicidal and used for carrying water. So copper, what it will do, it will kill the germs. So that's why it is used in brass. So used for carrying water. So these are the uses of brass. So combination of copper and zinc. Copper is 60 to 80% and zinc is 20 to 40%. It's called as brass. So these are the some of the uses of brass. Next alloy is German silver. So it is an alloy of copper, zinc and nickel. So mixture of copper, zinc and nickel is called as German silver. Copper percentage is 50 to 60%, zinc is 20 to 30%, nickel is 10 to 30%. Then come to the uses. So this is used in the preparation of utensils and tablewares like spoons, forks, etc. It is used in marine fittings and plumbing fixtures. It is used in heating coils due to high electrical resistance. It is also used in cutlery, coins, decorative articles, and in making ornaments. So cutlery means like knives, like that. Okay, so these are the some of uses. Preparation of utensils, kitchenware, tablewares like spoons, forks, marine fittings, seawater fittings, plumbing, tap fixings. So heating coils due to high electrical resistance. Okay, it is used in cutlery, coins, decorative articles, and in making ornaments. So we are saying here German silver. That means it is having shining character. That's why it is used in making ornaments. Next come to next alloy, nichrome. Third alloy is nichrome. So it is an alloy of nickel, iron, chromium. So nickel is 60%, iron is 25%, chromium is 15%. So the mixture of nickel, iron, chromium is called as nichrome. Then come to uses. It is used for electrical resistant coil in stoves, furnaces, electrical heaters. So this one is used as a electrical resistant coil in stoves, in furnaces, and in electrical heaters. And next, it is used as heating element in electrical stoves, furnaces, and electrical heaters. So it is used as an electrical resistant coil as well as a heating elements in electrical stoves, furnaces, and electrical heaters. And it is also used in parts of boilers and annealing boxes, machinery exposed to high temperature. So these are the some of the uses of nichrome. Then next come to the next alloy, stainless steel. So it is an alloy of iron, chromium, nickel and carbon. So it is a mixture of iron, chromium, nickel and carbon. So iron is 73%, chromium 18%, nickel 8% and carbon 1%. And then come to uses. So this is used for making utensils. Okay. Then cutlery and ornamental pieces. And used in construction of long shafts. It is handles. It is used in bridges for making monuments, sculptures, etc. And nowadays steel bars are used in medical field. Even these steel bars are also used in medical field. It is in dentistry. Okay, these are the uses of first utensils, kitchenware, cutlery for knives like that, and ornamental pieces also done by this stainless steel. Long shafts, making monuments, sculptures, even in bridges also this stainless steel is used, and these are used in dentistry, that is in medical field steel bars. So these are the some of the uses of stainless steel. Then come to last alloy, that is duralumin. It is a combination of aluminium, copper, manganese and magnesium. So aluminium, maximum percentage is aluminium. 94%, copper 4%, manganese 0.5 to 1% and magnesium 1%. Okay, aluminium, copper, manganese and magnesium. So this combination is called as duralumin. Then come to the uses. It is used in aircraft, construction, truck wheels. Okay, it is aircraft construction means planes. Is used in making armor plates in defense industry. So armor plates to protect. Okay, in defense industry, they will act as armor plates. Then you used in making dyes. It is coloring. DYES. This is not DIES. DYES. Then forgings, rivets, screw, machine parts. So forgings means shaping a metal with force. It is rivets means bolts and screw machine parts. Used as sheets for the auto body panels and used in making pressure cookers. So these are the some of the uses of duralumin. The first one is used in aircraft construction, truck wheels, and used in making armor plates, that is protecting purpose in defense industry. So like jackets, and used in making dyes for coloring, forgings, shaping a metal with force, rivets, bolts, screw machine parts, and sheets for the auto body panels, and making pressure cookers. So these are the some of the uses of duralumin. So how many alloys we studied? So five, first one is brass, mixture of copper and zinc. This percentage very important, that is 60-80, 20-40. Then come to German silver, copper, zinc, and one metal is extra, that is nickel, that is called as German silver. 50-60 copper and 20-30 zinc and 10-30 nickel. And come to nichrome, nickel, iron, chromium. So in the name itself, NiCrFe, extra. Like that you remember, nickel, chromium, iron. Nickel 60, iron 25, chromium 15%. Then next come to stainless steel. Here nickel, chromium, iron common, carbon extra. Okay, that is called as stainless steel. Nickel, iron, chromium. Okay, carbon. So iron is maximum here, 73%. Next chromium 18, nickel 8%, just carbon 1%. Then next come to duralumin. In this, aluminum is maximum, that is 94%, copper 4%, manganese and magnesium very small amounts, manganese 0.5 to 1%, and magnesium is just 1% only. So these are the compositions and uses of some of the alloys. And next, so in this period what we have discussed, definition of alloy, purpose of making alloys, and composition and uses of alloys. And we'll see the objective type questions. So first one, which of the following metal is absent in German silver? So here some metals are given. Which metal is absent in German silver? Asking. So A, copper, B, zinc, C, nickel, D, silver. So which one is absent in German silver? Copper, zinc, nickel combination is called German silver. So silver is absent in German silver. So answer D. Okay, you remember German silver. So silver is absent in German silver. Next, which metals are present in common in brass and German silver? So what are the metals common in brass and German silver? So we'll see answer copper, B zinc, C copper and zinc, D copper, zinc and nickel. Common means both metals are present in both these alloys. So what is the mixture of, what is an alloy? Brass is a mixture of which metals? Copper and zinc. And German silver is a mixture of copper, zinc and nickel. So common means these same metals are present in both these alloys. So which are same? Copper and zinc. So answer is C. And next come to the third one. Which of the following alloy is used in electrical resistant coils? So which alloy in uses we studied now? Which alloy is used in electrical resistant coils? A brass, B bronze, C German silver, D nichrome. So this nichrome is used as a resistant coil as well as a heating element we studied. So nichrome, answer is D. Nichrome is used in electrical resistant coils. And next come to next question, that is an alloy is a pure metal, mixture of metals in any proportion, mixture of metals in fixed proportion, mixture of two non-metals. The pure metal is not a alloy. Okay. So mixture of metals in any proportion is not a alloy. And mixture of two non-metals gives alloys? No. So both non-metals combined, alloy will not be formed. So what is the answer? Mixture of metals in fixed proportion. Its composition is fixed. So answer is C. Next, come to the next question. Fifth question. An alloy can be one of the following type. So here A homogeneous, B heterogeneous, C intermetallic, D all of the above. So while explaining definition, I told alloy can be a homogeneous or heterogeneous, even is intermetallic. So answer is D, all of the above. It may be homogeneous or heterogeneous or intermetallic. So answer is all of the above. So this type of objective type questions you may expect from this topic. Then come to the questions. First, define alloy and give example. And write the composition and uses of following alloys. So in your syllabus, you have 5 alloys. They can ask any one's composition or uses. Combinedly, they can ask composition and uses, or separately, they can ask composition and or uses of alloys. Then write the purpose of making alloys. So among these questions, very important questions are this definition for 1 mark question. Definition of an alloy and give example. And write the composition and uses of alloys. So any alloy, maximum repeated alloys, this brass, German silver, and nichrome maximum repeated, and in C18 curriculum these two are extra added. So before that you have just these 3 alloys. In C18 curriculum, the stainless steel and dura-aluminum are added. Okay, dura-aluminum. So this type of questions you may expect among this brass, German silver, nichrome, very important. So due to some technical issue in the last class, I didn't explain the objective type questions based on extraction of metal. So now I will explain those questions. So these are some of the objective type questions from extraction of crude metal. Okay, so first question, the main function of roasting is, so A, to remove volatile impurities, B, oxidation, C, reduction, D, slag formation. So why we are doing roasting? To remove volatile impurities. Whatever the sulfur, arsenic will be present in the ore, that will be removed in the form of volatile impurities. So answer A is correct. So main function of roasting is to remove volatile impurities. The next, second question, heating of pyrites in air for oxidation of sulfur is. So heating of pyrites in air for oxidation of sulfur is A, roasting, B, calcination, C, slag formation, D, smelting. So heating of ore in the presence of air is called roasting. So answer is A, roasting. The next, second question, smelting is done in. That is third question. Smelting is done in blast furnace, muffle furnace, open hearth furnace, and electric furnace. So while explaining the process, I told calcination and roasting is done in which furnace? Reverberatory furnace, whereas smelting is done in blast furnace. So answer is A. And come to fourth question. Calcination is the process of heating the ore. So where we will heat the ore during calcination process? In blast furnace, in presence of air, in absence of air, or none of the above. So calcination is done in the absence of air. Okay, so answer is C. In the presence of air means it is roasting. In the absence of air means it is calcination. So calcination is the process of heating the ore in the absence of air or limited supply of air. So here option is in the absence of air. So answer is C. Next, come to questions. So these questions also not explained. So what type of questions can expect? So you won't get direct the extraction of metal. They can ask separately like this. Explain roasting with equations. Explain calcination with equations, and explain smelting. So separately they will ask. So these may ask for 3 marks questions or 5 marks questions. Define roasting, define calcination, and define smelting for 1 mark question. Define roasting, it is for 1 mark question. Just you have to write the definition. Heating an ore in presence of air is called as roasting. Heating an ore in the absence of air is called calcination. And reduction of oxide ore by using reducing agent in the presence of flux is called smelting. These definitions, they will ask for 1 mark. So explain roasting means this is for 5 marks question. Explain calcination with equations and explain smelting. So this for 5 marks question. So like this you get different types of questions from extraction of crude metal. So today's our topic is an alloy. So once again we will discuss what is an alloy. It is a homogeneous mixture of metal with other metal or non-metal or metalloid with metallic properties is called alloy. It may be homogeneous or heterogeneous in solid state, and in molten state always it is homogeneous. Okay, why we are making alloys? To increase the hardness of the metal, to become more resistant to corrosion, to lower the melting point of the metal, to increase the tensile strength, to modify the color of the metals, to provide better castability, to modify properties like malleability and ductility. And you have here 5 alloys. So brass, so make common points here. So first it is used as a utensil. Okay, so in water, copper makes brass germicidal, so use it for water carrying. Okay, it prevents tarnishing. Tarnishing means discoloration, so it is used in door hardware. So nuts, making nuts, bolts. German silver, ornaments, it is a silver. Okay, ornaments. And here utensils, tablewares and decorative articles. Simple points you remember. Then next, nichrome, heating element or electrical resistant coils. Okay, then machinery exposed to high temperature, so boilers. Okay, then next, stainless steel utensils, cutlery, ornamental pieces, making monuments, sculptures, statues. Okay, in medical industry, especially in dentistry, this can be used. Then aluminum, duralumin. So here, forgings, aircraft construction, okay, auto body panels, pressure cookers. So like this, you remember the uses of the alloys. So what are the common points? Once you check and remember like that. So with this we finished. That is first unit in second sem, that is principles of metallurgy. So what are the topics we studied in principles of metallurgy? First, introduction to metallurgy. Then what are the characteristics of metals? What are the differences between metals and non-metals? And some of the terms related to metallurgy. That is, metallurgy means mineral, ore, gangue, flux, slag, and types of fluxes. Okay. Then next, concentration methods. In that, in your syllabus you have fourth flotation process. We studied fourth flotation process. This is the one of the concentration method by which we can remove the impurities present in the ore. So after removing the impurities, what we will do, we will extract the metal. So after extracting the metal, we will purify it. That one is not in our syllabus. Already we studied in first semester electrolytic refining. So still any impurities are present after this extraction. We will remove those impurities by electrolytic refining. By that we can get 100% pure metal. Then we prepare alloys. Okay, so after purification only we'll make alloys. So with this we finished first unit, that is principles of metallurgy. If you have any doubts, you can clarify your doubts in your next class. Okay, thank you students.